Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the meeting of the Northeast Sahara Regional Sewer District Board of Trustees to order for March 17th, 2022. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Ask the Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Sulik.
Yes.
Mayor DeGeter present. Mayor Bocci.
Present.
Ms. Dumas.
Here.
Ms. Chambers.
Here.
Mayor Alai. President Brown.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Let's do the approval of the minutes from our March 3rd meeting.
Make that motion, Mr. President.
Motion by Mayor Bocci. Second by Ms. Chambers. Is there a question? There's no question. The minutes will stand approved as they are printed. Now ask the CEO if anyone has signed up to speak during the public session portion of our agenda on a specific agenda topic.
They have not, Mr. President.
Thank you. Then we will have your report, please.
Thank you, President Brown and members of the board. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Beginning with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, we have one active case among district employees. This brings us to 207 confirmed positive cases since the beginning of the pandemic, with 206 folks recovered and returned to work. We have no employees with COVID-like symptoms awaiting their test results and no employees remaining at home because a member of their household has tested positive. So last week, as you know, Congress approved an omnibus spending bill for fiscal year 2022 with funding for a range of community projects in Northeast Ohio. This includes $2 million for the $9.8 million Brookside Culvert repair in Cleveland and $1 million for the $3.4 million Upper Ridgewood Basin Improvement Project in Parma. So we're very appreciative to Senator Brown and Congressman Gonzalez for this funding, and I do want to recognize Danielle Giantonio, I don't know if Danielle, oh, she's right there, our Manager of Legislative Affairs, and all the folks in watersheds and engineering that helped bring this financing back to the district, or this funding. It's not even financing, it's actual money.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's very good.
Congratulations.
And then specifically, I did want to mention that the Upper Ridgewood Basin project involves the redesign of an inline pond to create stormwater storage and help alleviate building and road flooding during significant storm events. So like the Doan Brook restoration at Horseshoe Lake project, this project has generated significant community discussion and media coverage. So I do want to thank Mayor DeGeter for his leadership throughout, and to Frank Greenland and Donna Friedman, watershed team leader, for their hard work, sensitivity, and commitment to addressing the questions and concerns from residents and community leaders as this project has moved forward. So it's interesting, the similarities between the two projects as we work in both communities. And then yesterday, I testified before the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee on Clean Water SRF funding. So the significant additional funding to the state revolving fund through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which I talked about at our last meeting, has actually reignited a whole conversation on Capitol Hill about the formula by which that SRF funding is allocated across each state. So NACWA, our national association, brought Tom Sigmund, who's from New Water in Green Bay, brought Tom and myself to the committee to talk about how we work with our states to use SRF funding, the importance to financing projects and controlling rates, and the need, regardless of any changes in the allotment formula, that the dollars coming to any state are not reduced. So more to come on this, and it was great to participate in that conversation. So President Brown, I'll take if you have any questions on my report, I take those. If not, I will turn it over to Marie Fetchig-Kirk to give an update on our sustainability plan. As you know, in 2021, we rolled out our first sustainability plan, which creates a framework for our decision-making from a sustainability focus, and I did want Marie to give us an update on where we stand.
All right. So, go ahead. So before we do that, you asked if there were comments. So I believe that Mayor DeGeter wants to follow up.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just comment for Donna Friedman and Matt Shriver. They did a yeoman's job on this project. I think they probably, between them, received over 500 different emails, met with every resident, met with a lot of council people, got them to understand and realize what we all do in Parma, that we like lakes, but not just in people's basements. So having said that, it was a 9-0 vote on the easement, so it'll be a good project for our community moving forward. Thank you.
All right, good work by all, so thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mayor DeGuder.
As you're aware, we had our 2021 sustainability plan, the first one launched last year. So it was a framework for decision-making and operations. And I'm going to give you 4 highlights. This is the first of which. Electricity reduction. So comparing 2021 to 2014, we reduced electricity usage by 19%, which equates to around $1.4 million in cost savings. We got to this number through a variety of efficiency upgrades, LEDs, pumps and blowers, turbine performance at the ref. And that picture there is one of the southerly tunnels, and you see the LED lights. And some of those lights go from 1,000 watts to 70 in a LED form. So the savings adds up, makes a big impact. And as we're thinking about the upcoming electricity procurement that we just looked at last board meeting, we know that the cheapest kilowatt is one that we don't need. So these efficiency efforts are really important and help us to cut costs on our greenhouse gas emissions. Next one is looking at the sustainability checklist. So thank you to ENC and Watersheds for making this happen. It's a way to seamlessly integrate sustainability into our projects so we can help identify cost-effective strategies in pre-design, and then also better capture the environmental impact. And this is really important so we can better tell our story. So when we have design enhancements like smaller tunnels or right-sizing equipment, we want to be able to better tell the story of how much money is saved and the greenhouse gas emissions that are reduced by these efforts. We also updated our idling policy, and we think about a high in gasoline prices since 2011. This should be top of mind for folks. We have guidance for reducing idling, and if people are not sure why, we have plenty of information about why idling matters and why it's important. We have internet resources to help you make good decisions, and it's integrated into our employee handbook, so people should find out about it one way or the other. Next, and finally, in our Green Infrastructure Grant program, we discovered a barrier. The current program is a reimbursement funding. So you have to have the upfront funding to participate in the program. And we found that that was a concern, that we were missing good projects to invest in diverse neighborhoods in our combined sewer overflow area. So it's a tough nut to try to get people money that they need in advance. And we were really lucky that a team through Watersheds was able to get funding for this. So the Green Infrastructure Leadership Exchange gave us $18,000 to address these barriers and to potentially create a loan so applicants can apply and then receive the funding they need to make this happen. It should be finalized in June of 2022 in advance of the September 2022 deadline. So that means that this year we'll be able to have more grants in more neighborhoods and allow more people to come up to the table with good ideas. And because this is a national organization, that also means that these ideas that we get here could be replicated here and in Canada as well. So it's really exciting. I'm really proud of the Watersheds team. Christopher Hartman has led up that effort, and it's fantastic. So that's what I got.
Thank you, Marie. So President Brown, that's just a quick look at our sustainability work.
Ms. Stone,
I'm sorry, I just had a quick question. Can you talk about how the $18,000 relates to like a average project and kind of how many people you expect you'd be able to include that you weren't able to include before because they didn't have the money up front?
Okay.
I think to your question, Ms. Dumas, I think, and Marie can clarify this, the $18,000 actually goes towards looking at setting up this loan concept. So it's not money that would directly go to applicants. It's money that would go to coming up with this kind of innovative idea. So Matt, do you want to talk about it a little more?
It's the development of a loan product that will be marketed to the CDCs throughout the Cleveland area, so they can
In
use
order to
that.
acquire the funding once you got that in place?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Question, Ms. Chambers?
No, I'd say it was a good question.
Oh, I thought you said it was a good question. Oh, I thought you had a question on the question.
That's
All
our
right,
report,
Deanna,
President.
Went up, great, good. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for that update. That concludes your report?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let's go to action items. Start with authorization issue request for proposal. This is authorization to issue an RFP in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 6119, for professional services and equipment for the storage area network replacement project.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Bocci.
Second.
Second by Ms. Dumas. Question? There was no question. Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution 97-22.
Thank you. Now we have a request for authorization to enter into agreement, starting with request for authorization to enter into a reimbursement agreement with the City of Strongsville for reimbursement of district design and construction costs in an amount not to exceed $163,351.87 for the replacement and concrete encasement of a city-owned sanitary sewer performed under the district's Blodgett Creek Bank Stabilization Project. Request for authorization to enter into a project agreement with West Creek Conservancy to provide local match funding towards the acquisition of permanent parcel numbers 457-19-014 and 457-20-006 located in the city of Parma and within the Federal Emergency Management Agency's 100-year floodplain along Baldwin Creek, with a district contribution amount not to exceed $125,000, combined with $231,800 from the Clean Ohio Fund Green Space Conservation Program, and $32,300 from West Creek Conservancy, towards a total project cost of $389,100. And finally, a request for authorization to enter into a project agreement with Cleveland Metro Parks to provide funding towards the acquisition of the 8.24 acre permanent parcel number 36426-015 located in the city of Berea and within the Federal Emergency Management Agency's 100-year floodplain along Baldwin Creek, with a district contribution amount not to exceed $325,000, and the Cleveland Metro Parks contribution towards the remaining cost of acquisition and demolition costs, currently estimated to be $325,000.
Move to, go ahead.
I'll take the motion by Ms. Chambers. I'll take Mr. Sulik as a second. Question, if you could, for both 99 and 100, if you could tell me who will hold title to this land once this work is done. It is in a floodplain, and so making these investments, I'm always concerned about making sure that it doesn't have the ability to revert back to some development opportunity in the future, et cetera.
Okay. First, both of these are in Baldwin Creek, and Baldwin Creek has a host of problems. The first is an agreement with West Creek Conservancy. They will hold title. They received Clean Ohio funding for the program, and the Ohio Public Works Commission, oversees that program, and within Ohio Public Works domain, there's declaration of restrictions to prevent, future activities from taking place. The second one, next slide, again, Baldwin Creek. This one's with the Metro Parks. They will hold title. And we've had discussions with the Metro Parks. The Metro Parks' mission in the Ohio Revised Code is preservation of property around natural resource areas. So this is in the Ohio Revised Code, and it is their mission. In their 105-year history, there's been lots of acquisitions and no sales, so that will continue. And so we're confident that both properties will be protected long-term.
Okay, appreciate that explanation. Thank you very much.
Question.
Mr. Sulik?
On the 122, the 325,000, we're actually purchasing that land, and anything over and above that cost, the Metro Parks would pay?
It's a joint. We're contributing $325,000 for the purchase. The Metro Parks is adding funding, and then we'll assume
How much are the Metro Parks adding?
we have a total estimated cost of $650 million, so
Okay.
it's roughly a 50-50. It's a 50-50 split.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? There being none, then without objection, they're approved.
Resolutions 98 through 100-22.
All right, thank you. Let's go authorization to enter into contract. Authorization to enter into a 2-year requirement contract with PERT Company Landscaping and Snow Plowing LLC for green infrastructure maintenance services in an amount not to exceed $451,949.70.
Make that motion, Mr. President.
Motion by Mayor Bocci.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sulik. Just a question, if you could tell me, I'm assuming that there's a designated number of facilities and locations that this company will be responsible for maintaining, and there is some level of quality control that will be administered.
Right. There are 12 separate sites in total. At each of the 12, we've been in this game of green infrastructure maintenance for a while now, so there are standing work orders with frequencies and activities that are expected of the contractor. We have our own internal resources that do their own inspection activities and make sure the contractor, is adhering to the work that needs to be done. Special work orders are written as needed. Next slide the next slide shows the general locations. These are largely the large-scale green infrastructure sites that we constructed for the CSO, per the CSO consent decree. Here's a small facility, our Easterly pump station, tunnel to watering pump station. So these are the locations. These have been the locations that are being maintained. So we've got a good track history of what's going on. And we do routine inspections. If something new comes up, the work order will be written and they're responsible to execute the work.
Okay, thank you very much. No other questions? Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution 101-22.
Thank you. Let's go for authorization to amend an agreement. This is authorizing final adjusting change order for design build agreement number 190003913 with U.S. Communications and Electric, Inc. for the Easterly Southerly Fiber Replacement Project by decreasing the agreement amount by $173,778.19, thereby bringing the total agreement amount to $3,669,228.81.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Sulik, second by Mayor Bocci. Question? There's no question. Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution 102-22.
Thank you. Let's go authorization to amend resolution. First, requesting authorization to amend resolution number 73-22 adopted February 17th, 2022, which authorized the district to acquire one permanent stormwater easement, two temporary easements at the property known as permanent parcel number 58107-049, located at 2728 Oakview Circle in the city of Broadview Heights, owned by William T. Eden III, Richard G. Eden Jr., and Sharon K. Eden, to revise the total consideration from $18,950 to $20,450. Also, a request for authorization to amend resolution number 188-21 to approve the district's operating and capital budgets for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2022, as presented.
Move to adopt 73A22 and 10322.
Motion by Mr. Sulik,
Second.
second by Mayor Bocci. If I could, regarding 10322, there was a presentation to the Finance Committee, which is chaired by Mayor Ali. I was present also, also Ms. Chambers was present for that presentation. We met March 8th to discuss the proposed 2022 budget. Detailed presentation was given outlining the proposed operating and capital budgets for sewer and stormwater. Key expense categories were discussed in detail. Operating revenue projections were presented that support the proposed 0.6% increase in sewer operating expenses, 134.5 for 2022, and 5.9% increase in stormwater operating expenses, $35.8 million for 2022. compared to the 2021 budget. Let's see, these projections are also in line with the 2022 through 2026 rate study projections. The total full budget for full-time staff is 802 staff for 2022. I think that's an inclusive to 2 people, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and the capital budget for 2022 is $262.8 million for sewer and $7.5 million for stormwater. Debt service payments for 2022 will be $119.5 million. The meeting also included a discussion of the current 10-year long-term financial plan, which is a comprehensive plan of finance developed by the district and its financial advisor, Baker Tilly. The plan is to utilize cash balances to defease higher interest rate debt and fund more of the capital programs that was discussed in detail, meaning the goal is to utilize cash and other resources to lower debt service with the lowest impact on customer rates being the outcome, and that is the discussion around the significant cash balance that we are carrying. So having said that, we did review and we are happy to make this recommendation. If there are any questions, please ask my friend, Mr. Duplay. But it was a good presentation and everything checked out in terms of where we're going on both the capital and operating side. So happy to make this recommendation and report on behalf of my committee chair.
Very good.
All right. So having said that, if there are no questions, then without objection, they are approved.
Resolution 73A and 103-22.
Thank you very much. All right, let's go to, here we go. Property-related transactions. One day I'm going to get smart and just record these and press a button and have them read. But. All right, here we go. Let's go. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Request for authorization to acquire one temporary easement at property known as permanent parcel number 531-23003, located at 800 West Resource Drive in the village of Brooklyn Heights, owned by Kohler Rubber and Supply Company, necessary for construction of West Creek Stabilization Brooklyn Heights project with total consideration of $17,600. Request for authorization to acquire one temporary easement in property known as permanent parcel number 531-28013, located at 1000 Resource Drive in the village of Brooklyn Heights, owned by R&J Real Estate Holding Company, LLC, necessary for construction West Creek Stabilization Brooklyn Heights project with total consideration of $30,000. Request for authorization to acquire one permanent stormwater easement, one temporary easement at the property known as permanent parcel number 77112. 002, located at 4749 Derbyshire Drive in the village of North Randall, owned by Vanessa Fisher and Maxie Williams, necessary for construction and maintenance of Bear Creek Covert Improvement Project, total consideration $9,350. Request for authorization to acquire one permanent stormwater easement, one temporary easement at the property known as permanent parcel number 771-12042, located at 4902 North Randall Drive in the village of North Randall, owned by Philip Serena and Ann Barnett, also known as Ann Serena, necessary for construction and maintenance of Bear Creek Covert Improvements Project, total consideration $10,500. Finally, request for authorization to acquire one parcel in fee simple known as permanent parcel number 702-29045, located on Whitehall Road in the city of South Euclid, owned by Paul M. Antonelli, necessary for construction and maintenance of the EWSE 05 project area, and to allow for the entirety of the payment plus closing costs to be dispersed to Innovative Title and Escrow Agency, LLC, with consideration of $38,000 plus closing costs.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Chambers. Second by Mr. Sulik. Is there a question? No question, without objection, they are
I did.
Mr. Sulik did it.
They are approved.
Resolution 104 through 108-22.
Yes. Thank you. Let's see. I'll do that again. All right, let's go. Authorization to grant credit. This is authorizing the district to issue a credit adjustment total amount of $50,475.76 against sewer charges on the NEORSD count ending in 2511 for Fairmount Presbyterian Church at 2757 Fairmount Boulevard, Cleveland Heights.
Make that motion, Mr. President.
Motion by Mayor Bocci.
Second.
Second by Ms. Dumas. It was second, Ms. Dumas.
Thank you.
Question. This is, I assume, a verified water leak that we had on this account as well?
Correct, President Brown. This was an outlet leak on the meter that Cleveland Water repaired.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. There is no other question or comment. Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution 109-22.
Thank you. Let's go authorization to distribute, okay? This is authorization to submit to all member communities a proposed change, Title I of the district's Code of Regulations, delaying until July 1, 2022, the effective date of the approved rate increase for hauled waste for the period 2022 through 2026 as presented.
Move to adopt 110-22.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Dumas, second by Mayor Bocci. If you could, just give us a little detail behind this request. We know that we talked about this as part of our rate analysis when we were looking at the different classes of customers and what should be the charge based on level of service. I imagine we did that due diligence. This has something more to do with notice.
That's right.
Raised the rate without telling them.
Thank you, President Brown. Yes, and Scott Broski can do just a brief presentation on this. And as Scott is walking up, you are correct, President Brown. This is straight up a mistake that we made on the communication side. The cost of service is accurate. The rate is accurate. We just made the mistake of not communicating this to the impacted haulers, and we'd like to make up for that mistake. Go ahead, Scott.
So good afternoon, President Brown, members of the board. As Kyle stated, and you all are aware, there's an approved set of rates for 2022 through 2026. The board approved that in July of 2021. In that was a new rate for hauled waste to become effective on the first of the year. And as you're all aware, we also had a comprehensive communication plan to deal with our customers, both on the domestic side and the industrial side, especially coming out of the Westerly questions about our surcharge rate and whatnot.
Right.
So we had what we thought was a very good plan to address all of our customers. We've come to find that we can always sharpen our pencils. Our septic rate was 4 cents a gallon. In 2020, operations and maintenance, along with engineering, did a comprehensive evaluation of that rate and the cost of service for treating hauled wastes. And in that analysis, they recommended a rate adjustment to finance and the rate consultant as they were going through that comprehensive cost of service study. And that recommended increase was to 8 cents a gallon. Here's just a comparison of some of the local hauling charges that our other utilities are charging in the area so that you can see how we compare. 4 cents was on the low side, so we've kind of moved ourselves into the more into the middle of where everyone is charging now, and we're a little more comparable, just so that you understand where we stand in relation to the market.
Well, context is always good. Thank you.
So we came to find out that there was a situation in February when our customers, these septic haulers, got their first invoice and saw their usage charge went from 4 cents to 8 cents, and they started calling. It's a significant increase. And so we learned very quickly that we missed our communication to that group of users. They're a small group. We're talking about less than 40 customers, but they use our facility frequently. They have multiple vehicles, So they're in and out of the plant quite a bit, and doubling their rate did have an impact on them. They were concerned about the rate increase, they were concerned about not getting notice, and they were concerned about the work that they had already performed and billed their customers for in January, and then they got their February invoice. They had been paid for many of these services already, and now we're getting charged a considerable amount more than they had expected. So we brought that issue to the team here and discussed that issue, and we heard their concerns. And the recommendation that we're bringing before you today is to modify our code of regulations and grant a change to that rate for a 6-month period, making it effective July 1st rather than January 1st, so that these businesses have an opportunity to adapt that new rate into their quotes, into their contracts, and we will follow our procedure to notify the member communities, take comment from them as well as the haulers, review those comments, and then propose coming back to you in 30 days, most likely the second meeting in April, to seek approval to formally modify the code. So today we're just asking for permission to send that proposal out to member communities and take those comments. And then once we do that and take those comments, we'll come back for formal approval to modify the code. And once we do that, we will then rebill our customers for that waste at the new rate. So there's obviously an impact of something like this, so we'll be upfront about that. Typically, we generate about $600,000 annually at 4 cents a gallon. So delaying this charge for 6 months is going to potentially impact our revenue by approximately $300,000.
All right.
Questions?
Yeah.
Ms. Dumas?
When you come back, is there any probability that you'd be asking for less than 8 cents?
There's been no discussion about changing the rate. The rate is based on cost of service, and it's technically justifiable, so I don't think we're asking to change the rate. And they may certainly comment that they want the rate changed. But I think what we're coming back to acknowledge is that we made the mistake in not giving them proper notice and that giving them this 6-month period, because they're on notice now. They know that it's happened, and we've made them aware that we're approaching you to explore this possibility. So I think they're fully aware that what we'll be coming back with is a July 1 rate of 8 cents.
So bottom line is there's an impact to their structure and their projections for the year, as well as those that have service who've already set their budgets in place for the year. So that's an interesting pull on. So we'll be interested to hear the responses, the comments that come back. So, but thank you for that briefing and update. I think this is an appropriate, kind of given the circumstances.
Oh, absolutely. This is the right thing to do.
Thank you.
All right. There's no other further question, then without objection, we'll approve this.
Resolution 110-22.
Thank you. All right, let's go authorization of pay classifications. This is approval of the district's adjusted salary ranges of all classifications of non-union salaried employees and the hourly wage ranges for all classifications of non-union hourly employees to reflect a 4% increase as presented.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Sulik.
Second.
Second by Mayor Bocci. Question? No question. Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution 111-22.
Thank you. Let's go authorization to amend purchase. This is authorization to amend the purchases under the Cisco SmartNet Maintenance Agreement through State of Ohio Cooperative Purchasing Program to add funding for additional hardware in the amount of $45,000, requiring authorization of an additional amount of $25,000, thereby bringing the total purchase amount not to exceed $607,282.08.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Ms. Dumas, second by Ms. Chambers. Question? Question without objection, it's approved.
Resolution 112-22.
All right, then let's do add-on. This is authorization to enter into contract. This is authorization to enter into a construction contract with Shook Construction for the Westerly Chemically Enhanced High Rate Treatment Project in an amount not to exceed $5,975,400.40.
Make the motion, Mr. President.
Motion by Mayor Bocci,
Second.
second by Ms. Chambers. If you could, just a short briefing on comments on this. I know we talked about this previously, and so this is the outcome of this project that we need to get done under this timeline now, so.
Good afternoon, President Brown, members of the board. Yes, this project is Control Measure 3 of our consent decree. So with all our consent decree projects, we do have critical milestones that we have to meet. This is a very complicated, large project in a very small space at our Westerly plant. So every minute is needed to take advantage of that and ensure that we meet those the critical milestones of the consent decree. So yes, President Brown, we came to you last week. Ken had a resolution request before the board to authorize entering into an agreement with the EPA for the loan funding on this project. Typically, that resolution comes after the one that's before you today. Since last time we met, we did open bids on this project. I'm happy to report that we received 3 strong bids, including the low bid by Shook Construction. The engineer's estimate on this project was $84.4 million. Their bid was just under $80 million. So that allows us to move forward with award, assuming the board is in agreement with us, and that allows us then to also proceed with the EPA in getting the loan fund for this project. We always intended to loan fund this project under the SRF funding.
Right.
Those do have Buy American requirements. Under the current provisions and the one that we designed this contract under, that was for iron and steel, come May 15th, those will be expanded to other materials. So because it was designed under the old way, it was very important for us to get this ahead of that May 15th deadline.
All right, and that is the critical issue for us, just so, for the record. And then I just would like to note that the BOP numbers were also favorable, so appreciate that as well. All right, any other question or comment? There are none. Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution 113-22.
Thank you very much. That does complete our action item agenda. Computer went to sleep. Okay. Let's go open session. No. Let's go information item. We got.
I'm happy. I'm happy to sit down. Shoot.
Nice try, Mr. President.
I was with them.
Well, I'm on the clock here.
Moving along.
All right, let's go. Information item, program management status report and update for February 2022.
That's right, and I'll try to make it quick.
Okay.
So again, yes, this is the update for February 2022 on the capital improvement program. With it being a monthly update, I will provide you an update on cash flow, as well as an update at the project level for KPIs that occurred in the month of February. And then for the construction updates, I'm going to highlight the Westerly Tunnel Dewatering Pump Station project. So looking first at cash flow, we ended the month of February at 66% of planned. That is obviously on the low end of where we want to be as our overall target by end of the year is 85%. However, it is not uncommon in these early months to be below that 85% target, as where construction is often impacted by weather, which was the case in these first few months. We actually had a period where some contractors shut down just because it was too cold and snowy. In addition to that, we also had a handful of projects that were just late in the billing cycle, so those were not accounted for. In regards to actual dollars paid out, we paid out approximately $13 million in the month of February, and year-to-date, we're tracking over just $25 million. So moving on to our key performance indicators, we achieved substantial completion on the Eastleigh Southerly Fiber Replacement Project. That was achieved within 90 days of plan meeting the KPI. We also closed the construction contract for the Dome Valley Storage Tunnel. That final dollar amount came in at $136.5 million. That was within 95% of the original contract amount, meeting the KPI. On the business opportunity program goal, we did fall short. The district goals on this project were set at 10% MBE WBE and 5% SBE. Our projected actual for MBE-WBE is 15.56%, so we did exceed that portion of the goal. However, on the SBE side, we're projecting coming in at 3.68%, which is below that 5%. From a cumulative standpoint, we're coming in at over 19% for BOP participation, which does exceed the cumulative 15% that we set. And I will also note that our MBE-WB firms are also SBE firms. We just don't double count.
Okay.
So looking at the total work orders on this project by change categories as a percent of construction, those came in at 1.39%, and that equates to 1.9 million. As you can see from the pie chart there, a big portion and majority fell to the category of differing or unforeseen site conditions, with the big portion of the remaining pie going to the category of owner-requested changes. So moving on to our construction highlights. Again, this is the Westerly Tunnel Dewatering Pump Station project. That picture up on your screen is a rendering of that final facility. The pump station is located along the West Shoreway, just west of the Soapbox Derby and the Garrett Morgan water treatment plant. This pump station will dewater the Westerly Storage Tunnel, which is also currently in construction, and pump those flows to the Westerly plant for full treatment. The pump station, along with the tunnel, will be responsible for 285 million gallons of annual CSO reduction from two of our outfalls that are tributary to the Cuyahoga River, including CSO 080, which is one of our largest CSO locations. So the Westerly Tunnel Dewatering Pump Station is a $27.2 million construction contract. It includes a 36 MGD submersible pump station, along with a 9,550 square foot building. And then I just have a section here just to walk you through the components of that pump station before showing you some actual photos of the construction. So at grade, you have the pump room. We also have a large flushing tank and a valve vault area where the discharge piping comes through before it goes out to the 36-inch force main. Going underground, 215 feet in total depth. If you drop down here, you can see a 25-foot diameter of the Westerly Storage Tunnel is where it would connect to this pump station, where it will first be screened through a large bar screen. That screen is 25 feet in height and 8.5 feet in width before dropping down into the wet well under the baffle wall, where those flows will eventually be pumped out 215 feet up through, we have 5 pumps there. Each of those are 9 MGD in capacity, and that includes 1 backup pump. So that gives us a reliable capacity of 36 MGD, which equates to the capacity of the storage tunnel. It is pumped up through those vertical discharge pipes. Each of those are 20-inch in diameter. We have 1 pipe per pump, where it is pumped through that valve vault area and again to that 36-inch force main, to the Westerly interceptor, and then to the plant for full treatment. I will note that the actual wet well, which is 46 feet in diameter, 200 feet down, was actually constructed by the Westerly Storage Tunnel contractor and then handed over to the pump station contractor to put in all these different components. So where we stand in the way of progress, so far we have completed construction of the pump base at the bottom of that wet well, as well as the vertical discharge piping, and the bar screen has also been installed. The flushing tank has also been constructed, as well as a 46 diameter shaft cover over that wet well shaft location. The exterior masonry walls have been put up, as well as the lower roof system, and then the 36-inch diameter force main has also been constructed. In regards to ongoing work, the discharge piping and the gates in that valve vault area are currently in progress. We're also in the progress of putting up the structural steel in the higher elevation roof section, and then there's ongoing electrical and plumbing work. And this project is scheduled to achieve substantial completion in May of 2023. And then just some photos of that construction. So starting at the far left, this is looking down 215 feet into that wet well. Again, this is basically how the tunneling contractor handed over that shaft to the pump station contractor. And then if you go to the middle photos, there's a photo of that large screen being installed, and then below that is the discharge piping being put in, again, 20 inches in diameter. And then to the far right, Again, looking down into that shaft after construction of that baffle wall area, as well as the pump base area. And I don't know if you can see my cursor, but basically this little square here is, the screen is behind that. So flows come through that screen, drop into that baffle wall area, and then eventually will be pumped up through those discharge pipes. The pumps themselves have not yet been installed. And so just some more photos of the construction, starting again at the far left. This is, both of those photos are of the large flushing tank. The one at top is where they're putting in the structural rebar, and then below that is after the concrete pour had occurred. Moving over to the middle photos, just a picture of some of that roof still being put up, and then below that, the 36-inch diameter force main is shown there, with the discharge piping connecting to that force main. In the far right, that's the valve vault area where a lot of work is currently going on. And then just below that is a picture of that 46 diameter shaft cover slab that was constructed. And with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
Any questions? No. All right. Thank you very much. All right, that takes care of our information item. Any matter for open session? No? Okay, then I would ask the CEO if anyone has signed up to speak during the public session portion of our agenda on any subject matter.
They have not, Mr. President.
All right, we have any matters for executive session today?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Oh, sir. Then that does complete our agenda for the day. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
Motion by Mayor Bocci.
Second.
Second by Ms. Dumas. Without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.